I'd like to discuss why the peculiar hair-splitting accuracy of the decoitery summoned by the Dakota is a ruse, and why my insights and perceptions should be given more credence. It turns out to be true that nobody but me cared enough about John Lennon to demand the arrest of Gail Burstyn. When I saw what they were claiming she had done, what she was claiming she had done, I went straight to the police. There was no question of hiding anything. I had never hidden the letters. I was taken by surprise. I truly believed that John Lennon had died. I made quite a fuss about it. Put a full-page spread in the Carnegie Mellon University newspaper. And the gravity of what Gail Burstyn had done, I duly noted. I was taken also completely by surprise by the momentum with which Gail Burstyn, Ringo Starr, and Yoko Ono partnered up to barrage me in a hideous and cruel attack. I honestly cannot imagine what the Pennsylvania or Washington authorities tell themselves when they claim to be friendly to me after putting me through such a nightmare ordeal and allowing the perpetrators to come out on top. What could my peers possibly say to defend themselves against the sadism that they unleashed on me? And for a long time, they wouldn't even let me talk about it. The simple truth is I had no idea what was in store. Nothing that I had learned or reported on Mount Desert Island prepared me for the cruelty of the organized mafia that came out of Britain in defense of the perpetrators, in the name of John Lennon, by people who wouldn't even demand an investigation of the person who they say scripted his murder. These casinos that Ringo Starr uses it as moral code don't speak for, to, or about me. They don't make any sense. They're the logic of bribery. I mean, you can hire a murderer, as the CIA proved in Dallas, and that's supposedly moral significance so great that it makes the perpetrators the moral army of the world. Bribing hired killers, that's the attribute and hallmark of the world's moral army. A friend of a friend of a friend of a friend, a friend from the streets of the Poetry Cafe Messiah crowd, veteran of some sort, said to me that the Beatles would brag that they were the biggest bastards of all. And you're supposed to see in the situation that they created their idealism. And you wonder, why don't I buy that? A girl who had Down syndrome taught me sign language out of a sense of civic responsibility to me as a deaf person in Pittsburgh. She was so much a part of Pittsburgh that the city police actually winced when they heard she was raped. They actually felt something. They felt poorly. There's a story where she was having a seizure in the snow by the mailbox. and the postman came and he carried her home. That's how beloved this beautiful, beautiful girl was. And out of loyalty to me, she could see what they were doing to. She could read Pittsburghers. She taught me sign language. And finally, I graduated from college. What goes through the minds of the ethical professors in sociology when they look at a deaf man who's been cheated of language skills, who's been cheated of education, who's been burned down by dishwashing jobs all his life, being tortured hideously by doctors of feminist philosophy, media moguls, Harvard graduates, Yale enthusiasts, Swarthmore lovey-doves, Seattle progressives. What goes through their heads when they justify and endorse that? That Don Toon is God? That Richard Starkey can do no wrong? That Lou Reed was the Pope of infallibility on his seed of vitamin injection? That Louis Lapham crooked his finger about it? That they had a samizdat document that fell into the hands of the ruthless occupation army? Their interpretation of which was so subhuman as to be virtually meaningless. They claim that a kidnapping incident of terrible trauma involving chemical warfare and nerve agents on a deaf child on a freezing cold day by marauders in stolen cars in the Eastminster district of Pittsburgh was evidence of hanky-pank with the girl, going for second. And they made this a line in the sand of such inanity that they stalked me for years through places like Iowa where I was homeless. Incendiarily poisoned me in the lip with the bacteriological. Scare me to death anytime I'm hungry enough to go to the lunchroom, not knowing what happens next. And these were all people who I just wanted to be friends with. Paul McCartney must be a weirdly envious man of some sort, because I didn't ask for any of this.